drama in the Atlanta hip-hop scene just took a turn that absolutely nobody saw coming. And this time, the crosshairs are locked on none other than Tiny Harris. For years, the bond between Tiny and Shekinah Joe was seen as one of the most unbreakable friendships in reality TV history. But a shocking new statement from T.I. has just blown the lid off the tension that's been brewing behind the scenes. We aren't just talking about a simple disagreement. We are looking at a full-scale public fallout that has fans questioning everything they thought they knew about loyalty. When Tip decided to speak out on Shekinah, he didn't hold back, and the ripple effect has dragged Tiny right into the center of a storm she didn't even start. The streets are talking, the internet is divided, and the receipts are starting to surface. How did a sisterhood that survived decades of industry pressure crumble under the weight of a single statement? And why is T.I. suddenly the one lighting the match to the bridge? Tonight, we are peeling back the layers of this explosive situation to figure out what was really said, how Tiny is reacting to being caught in the middle, and whether this is the final nail in the coffin for the most iconic duo in Atlanta. This isn't just celebrity gossip. This is a deep-rooted history of friendship, fame, and betrayal that is reaching its absolute breaking point. Grab your popcorn and stay tuned, because the details we've uncovered about this sudden shift in dynamics are going to leave you speechless. The journey of Tiny Harris and Shekinah Joe has always been more than just a friendship. It was a cultural phenomenon that represented the heart and soul of Atlanta's entertainment scene. For over a decade, we watched these two navigate the complexities of fame, family, and business, and it felt like nothing could ever come between them. But the atmosphere changed overnight when T.I. decided to break his silence, delivering a shocking statement that didn't just target Shekinah. It effectively dragged Tiny into a storm she wasn't prepared to weather. When the King of the South speaks, the world listens, and this time, his words were sharp enough to cut through years of history. Tip's critique wasn't just a passing comment. It was a deep dive into the dynamics of loyalty, suggesting that the person Tiny considered a sister might have had a different agenda all along. This sudden public shift caught everyone off guard, especially because Tiny has spent her entire career trying to maintain peace within her circle. By bringing these private grievances into the light, T.I. forced a confrontation that had been simmering beneath the surface for a long time. You could feel the tension radiating through social media the moment the news broke, as fans scrambled to figure out what could have possibly pushed Tip to this point. Was it a specific betrayal, or was it the slow accumulation of disrespect that finally made him snap? For Tiny, being caught between her husband and her best friend is a position of ultimate conflict. She has always been the glue that holds the Harris family together, but this time, the glue was being stretched to its absolute limit. T.I.'s statement focused heavily on the idea of boundaries and the way some people around them allegedly took advantage of the platform they were given. He spoke about the difference between being a genuine friend and being a person who is simply there for the ride. To many, this felt like a direct indictment of Shekinah's entire history with the family. The backlash was swift, and it wasn't just directed at Shekinah. Fans began questioning Tiny's own judgment. People wanted to know how she could allow her husband to publicly bash someone who had been by her side through every legal battle, every pregnancy, and every career high. This put Tiny in an impossible situation where any move she made would be seen as a betrayal by one side or the other. If she stayed silent, she was seen as complicit in T.I.'s attack. If she defended Shekinah, she was going against the man she had built her life with. This internal tug-of-war is what makes this drama so uniquely painful to watch. It's not just a celebrity feud. It's the potential end of a sisterhood that many women looked up to as an example of ride-or-die loyalty. As we dig deeper into why this statement was so explosive, we have to look at the timing. The Harris family has been under intense scrutiny for various reasons lately, and adding internal friction to the mix only made things more volatile. T.I. seemed to be sending a message that he is cleaning house, removing anyone who doesn't align with the family's new direction or their standard of privacy. He hinted that the loud and outspoken nature that made Shekinah a fan favorite was now becoming a liability to their brand. This is a classic case of the very thing that makes you famous becoming the thing that gets you excluded from the inner circle. For Shekinah, hearing this from T.I. was a slap in the face. She has always maintained that she was a major factor in the success of their reality shows, providing the humor and the relatability that balanced out Tip's more serious persona. To have that contribution dismissed as clout chasing or disloyalty was a bridge too far. The drama began to spiral as Shekinah took to her own platforms to defend her name, creating a he said, she said scenario that played out in front of millions. Every time Shekinah responded, the pressure on Tiny grew. The public was watching her Instagram, her stories, and her public appearances, looking for any sign of where she stood. The most shocking part of T.I.'s statement was the lack of warning. Usually, these types of family disputes are handled behind closed doors or through carefully worded PR statements. But Tip went rogue, choosing to speak his truth in a way that left no room for interpretation. He made it clear that he no longer considered Shekinah a part of their world, and he didn't care who knew it. This level of bluntness is rare in the industry, and it signaled that something truly unexpected must have happened behind the scenes to trigger such a response. Rumors started flying about business deals gone wrong and personal secrets being shared with the wrong people. While none of these rumors have been officially confirmed, the mere fact that they exist shows how much damage has been done to the reputation of their friendship. Tiny found herself in a position where she had to manage the fallout while also dealing with her own personal feelings of loss. Imagine having your husband tell the world that your best friend is no longer welcome in your home. That is the level of drama we are dealing with here. As the narrative of part comes to a close, the focus shifts to the immediate aftermath of this public declaration. The lines have been drawn, and the Atlanta social scene is effectively divided. You have those who believe T.I. is right to protect his family at all costs, and you have those who think he is being a bully to a woman who has been nothing but loyal to Tiny. But the person most affected by all of this is Tiny herself. She is the one who has to live with the consequences of this statement every day. She has to decide if she can continue to be friends with someone her husband has publicly denounced, or if she has to sacrifice her longest friendship for the sake of her marriage. The weight of that decision is heavy, and it is only the beginning of the story. The statement was the spark, but the fire is now burning out of control, and it's dragging everything and everyone in its path into the drama. The question isn't just about what T.I. said. It's about what happens next now that the world knows the truth about the cracks in the Harris empire. The sisterhood is officially on life support, and as we move forward, the details only get more intense. Tiny's silence was eventually going to have to break, and when it did, the revelations were even more shocking than the original statement itself, leading us directly into the next phase of this unraveling legacy. The ripple effect of T.I.'s statement didn't just create a temporary buzz. It effectively dismantled the foundation of trust that had been built over decades. As we move into the second part of this unfolding drama, the focus shifts from the initial shock to the calculated responses and the hidden layers of the conflict. For Shekinah Joe, the words T.I. used were a direct attack on her integrity, and she wasn't about to let them slide without a fight. She took to social media, her eyes filled with tears, but her voice steady with defiance, to address the man she once called the Big Brother. Her response was a masterclass in raw emotion, as she reminded the world of the nights she spent consoling Tiny and the years she spent defending the Harris family against every rumor that came their way. She pointed out the hypocrisy of being labeled a liability now, after being a necessity for so long. This pushback created a massive divide in the fan base, with many starting to see T.I.'s statement not as a protective measure, but as a form of gatekeeping that aimed to silence anyone who knew too much about the reality behind the family hustle brand. The drama intensified when rumors of a secret tape and DNA results began to circulate, adding a dark and messy layer to an already complicated situation. While these claims were never officially verified, they acted as gasoline on the fire. The internet was flooded with theories that the real reason for the fallout wasn't just personality clashes, but a deep-seated personal betrayal that hit at the very heart of the Harris marriage. Tiny found herself in a position where she was no longer just the mediator. She was the victim of a narrative that was spiraling out of her control. Every move she made was analyzed under a microscope. When she posted about her music or her rehearsals, people accused her of trying to distract from the mess. When she stayed quiet, they claimed she was being suppressed. The reality was that Tiny was likely grieving in private while trying to keep her empire from crumbling in public. She has always been a woman of extreme resilience, but even the strongest person has a breaking point, and being dragged into this specific brand of drama, where your husband is publicly discrediting your best friend, is a level of humiliation that is hard to recover from. What makes this phase of the drama so unexpected is how it forced other players in the industry to choose sides. We started seeing subtle shade and coded messages from other reality TV stars and hip-hop figures who have been in the Harris' orbit for years. Some people came out in support of Shekinah, praising her for standing her ground, while others rallied around T.I., citing his right to protect his household from outside energy. This isn't just about three people anymore. It's about the politics of loyalty in the industry. Tiny's silence during this period became one of the most talked about aspects of the story. Unlike her usual approach of addressing things head-on, she seemed to be taking a step back, perhaps realizing that anything she said would only provide more ammunition for the blogs. However, the lack of a united front between her and T.I. on this specific issue was a glaring sign of trouble. For the first time in a long time, the king and queen of the South didn't seem to be reading from the same script, and the cracks in the palace walls were becoming visible to everyone. The tension reached a peak when old interviews began to resurface, showing moments where T.I. had previously expressed his dislike for Shekinah. It became clear that this wasn't a new issue, but a long-standing resentment that had finally boiled over. The shocking statement was just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, there were reports of legal threats and non-disclosure agreements being tossed around like confetti. The stakes were no longer just about a friendship. They were about protecting a legacy and a multi-million-dollar brand. Shekinah's claims that she was treated like the help and used for her charisma without being properly compensated struck a nerve with many who feel that supporting characters in reality TV are often exploited. This turned the drama into a conversation about class and power within the entertainment industry. Tiny was caught in the middle of this sociological debate, representing the elite, while her best friend represented the hustle. This dynamic added a layer of complexity that made it impossible for fans to simply pick a side without considering the larger implications of the conflict. As the part of this saga draws to a close, the energy is one of exhaustion and uncertainty. The public is starting to realize that there might not be a winner in this situation. T.I.'s reputation has taken a hit as people view his actions as unnecessarily harsh. Shekinah is dealing with the trauma of losing her chosen family, and Tiny is left to pick up the pieces of a life that looks very different than it did just a few weeks ago. The seamless flow of their lives has been interrupted by a series of events that feel more like a movie script than reality. But the most revealing part of the drama was yet to come. Just when everyone thought they had figured out the motives behind the fallout, a new piece of information emerged. A detail so surprising that it shifted the entire focus of the investigation. It wasn't just about words, and it wasn't just about business. It was about a secret that had been kept for years, one that Tiny was finally forced to confront. This discovery would lead directly into the final chapter of the story, where the ultimate truth would finally come to light, leaving no doubt about who was really responsible for the drama that dragged Tiny Harris into the center of a storm that could change her life forever. The final chapter of this saga brings us to the most intense and high-stakes confrontation yet, as the fallout from T.I.'s shocking statement reaches a point of no return. What started as a public disagreement has evolved into a full-scale battle for the truth, and Tiny Harris is no longer just a bystander. She has become the focal point of the entire narrative. As the dust began to settle on the initial social media back and forth, a new layer of the story emerged that shifted the perspective of everyone watching. It wasn't just about a personality clash or a disagreement over business. It was about the fundamental boundaries of a marriage and the role that a best friend plays within that sacred space. Reports began to surface that the last straw for T.I. was a specific instance where he felt Shekinah had crossed a line that compromised the family's privacy during a particularly vulnerable time. This revelation added a sense of gravity to his initial statement, making people realize that his anger wasn't just impulsive. It was deeply rooted in a sense of protection. However, for Tiny, this meant facing the reality that the two most important people in her life could no longer coexist in the same world, forcing her to make a choice that she had avoided for years. The pressure on Tiny to publicly choose a side reached a breaking point when Shekinah released a final, emotional video that seemed to address Tiny directly, bypassing the blogs and the fans. In this message, Shekinah spoke about the real Tiny, the woman behind the glam squad and the reality TV cameras, and questioned whether that woman still existed under the influence of the King of the South persona. This was a tactical move that hit Tiny where it hurt the most: her identity. For years, Tiny has been praised for her independence and her ability to build her own legacy with Xscape and her various business ventures. To have her loyalty to her husband framed as a loss of self was a narrative she couldn't ignore. The drama was no longer just about T.I.'s statement. It was about Tiny's autonomy. Inside sources claimed that the atmosphere in the Harris household was incredibly tense, as the couple had to navigate the public's perception of their marriage while dealing with the very real grief of losing a long-term family friend. This wasn't just a scripted reality TV moment. This was a life-altering shift in their social fabric that threatened to overshadow their professional accomplishments. As the situation progressed, the unexpected nature of the drama took another turn when legal documents were reportedly drafted to prevent further public discussion of the matter. This move by the Harris legal team was seen as an attempt to bury the drama. But in the digital age, trying to silence a story often only makes it louder. Fans began to dig even deeper, looking for any receipts that could prove who was telling the truth. They looked at old episodes of The Family Hustle, looking for signs of the cracks that had finally shattered the relationship. What they found was a pattern of behavior that suggested the tension had been building for nearly a decade. The statement T.I. made was simply the final explosion of a volcano that had been dormant for too long. Tiny's role in this final phase was one of quiet strength, as she focused her energy on her children and her career, effectively distancing herself from the noise. But the dragging continued as blogs refused to let the story die, constantly questioning if Shekinah would ever be allowed back into the fold, or if the sisterhood was officially dead and buried. The ultimate resolution of this drama came when Tiny finally broke her silence in a way that was both subtle and definitive. Rather than a long-winded statement or a tearful interview, she made a series of moves that showed her priority was her family's peace. She began to scrub her social media of the recent negativity, focusing instead on her husband's achievements and her children's growth. This was her way of signaling to the world that, while she may have been dragged into the drama, she wasn't going to let it define her. The unexpected twist here was that Tiny didn't choose between T.I. and Shekinah in the way people expected. She chose herself and her family's future. This decision, while painful, was a testament to her growth as a woman and a public figure. Shekinah, on her end, began to build a new life outside of the Harris shadow, proving that she could survive without the association that had defined her for so long. The drama had essentially forced both women to evolve, even if the process was messy and public. As we conclude this deep dive into the fallout of T.I.'s statement on Shekinah, the legacy of their friendship remains a complicated one. It serves as a cautionary tale about the intersection of fame, business, and personal loyalty. The shocking nature of the fallout wasn't just in the words that were said, but in the realization that even the strongest bonds can be broken by the pressures of the spotlight. Tiny Harris emerged from the storm with her head held high, though the scars of the conflict are undoubtedly still there. The flow of her life has changed, and the circle around her has become smaller and more exclusive. As for the fans, they are left with the memories of an era where Tiny and Shekinah were the ultimate duo, a reminder that in the world of celebrity drama, nothing is ever as simple as it seems on the surface. The drama may have been unexpected, and Tiny may have been dragged into it, but the way she handled the aftermath proved why she remains the undisputed queen of her own empire, moving forward into a new chapter where the only voices that matter are the ones inside her own home. What do you think about T.I.'s decision to take this private family matter to the public? Was he right to protect his household at all costs? Or did he go too far by dragging Tiny's best friend through the mud? We want to hear your thoughts. Is this the official end of the Tiny and Shekinah era? Or do you think they can find a way back to each other after the dust settles? Drop a comment below and let's get the conversation started. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the latest Atlanta drama, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more exclusive updates, celebrity breakdowns, and the stories behind the headlines you won't find anywhere else. Don't forget to turn on those post notifications so you never miss a beat. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.